The heat leaves the desert slowly. Even now, long after the sun has disappeared beyond the dunes, warmth still rises from the earth beneath your feet. Not the harsh heat of the day. That has already passed. What remains is softer now, gentler. The kind of warmth held quietly inside stone and sand, released little by little into the night air. You walk beside the caravan in silence, not because silence is required, but because the desert naturally asks for it. The camels move slowly ahead of you, their footsteps muffled by sand, a steady rhythm, soft, unhurried. Leather straps creak quietly with each movement. Small lanterns sway gently from the sides of loaded packs. Nothing moves quickly here. Nothing ever truly does. Behind you, the last traces of daylight fade from the horizon. The sky deepens into darker shades of blue, then charcoal, then something almost endless. And above it all, the first stars begin to appear. One at a time. Elf is waking slowly from sleep. You pull your cloak slightly tighter around your shoulders. The air has begun to change. Deserts are strange that way. The same land that burns beneath the sun can grow cold before midnight. Already you can feel the difference. The warmth slipping away, the coolness settling gently into the wind. The caravan leader walks somewhere ahead. You cannot see him clearly now, only the faint outline of movement against the darkness. But there is comfort in knowing he is there. Comfort in the rhythm of others moving beside you, even when nobody speaks. The journey has been long enough that the body no longer resists the motion. Your legs move without thought now, step after step, breath after breath. The rhythm has become part of you. Somewhere far behind the caravan, the wind moves across the dunes. You hear it before you feel it, a low sound, soft and endless, like water moving through a distant cave. The desert at night does not feel empty. That is what surprises most travelers. During the day, perhaps, under the endless sun, with no shade and no movement, but at night, the desert feels alive. Not loudly, not visibly, but quietly, in hidden ways. You glance upward again. More stars now, thousands of them, clearer than anywhere else you have ever traveled. There are no fires nearby to dim them, no cities, no walls, only open sky stretching endlessly in every direction. For a moment you forget the road entirely. Your eyes remain above, following patterns between stars that traders and travelers have followed for generations. The same sky, the same constellations, the same quiet guidance. Long before maps, long before roads were carved into the world, the camel beside you exhales slowly. A deep, tired sound, its breath briefly visible in the cooling air. You rest your hand gently against its side as you walk. The animal's movement is steady beneath your palm, calm, reliable. It asks for little, only direction, water, rest, and patience. The bells hanging from the front of the caravan ring softly, not loudly enough to interrupt silence, only enough to become part of it. A faint metallic rhythm drifting through the dark. Ahead, the terrain begins to change. The dunes flatten slightly. The wind weakens. The caravan slows, not suddenly, just gradually, as though everyone senses the same thing at the same moment. Tonight's resting place is near. You cannot see it yet, but experienced travelers learn to notice small changes. The shape of the land, the way sound moves, the subtle presence of stone beneath the sand. Somewhere ahead, there will be shelter. Perhaps only a few rocks protecting a fire from the wind. Perhaps the remains of an old trading post. Perhaps a shallow depression in the dunes where travelers before you once rested beneath the same sky. The thought of stopping does not bring excitement, only relief, quiet relief. Your feet continue forward steadily. The sand shifts beneath each step, soft, endless. The lantern nearest you flickers, as the wind changes direction. For a brief moment, shadows stretch across the dunes beside the caravan, long distorted shapes moving silently through darkness. Then the lantern steadies once more. No one speaks. Words feel unnecessary out here. The desert removes them slowly from people. Not cruelly, just naturally. The longer one travels beneath open sky, the less there seems to be worth saying. You begin to notice the cold more clearly now. It settles into your hands first, then your face. A quiet reminder that night has fully arrived. And still, the caravan continues, step after step, bell after bell, breath after breath. Far ahead in the darkness, a faint orange glow finally appears. Small, distant, steady. A fire. Nobody reacts strongly. Nobody points. The caravan simply continues toward it, as though this too has already happened countless times before. Perhaps it has. The fire grows slightly larger as you approach. Its light touches the edges of nearby stones, low shapes emerging slowly from darkness. You can now make out outlines of tents, a few resting animals, wooden poles planted into the earth. Another caravan has already arrived before yours. The realization brings a strange comfort, not because you know these travelers. You do not. But because seeing another fire in such a vast place makes the desert feel smaller, less endless. The smell reaches you before the camp itself. Smoke, warmth, tea, simple things. But after long hours beneath open sky, they feel almost sacred. The caravan slows to a stop. The bells fall silent one by one. The movement ends gradually, like waves settling after a storm. And for the first time since sunset, everything becomes still. For a few moments, nobody moves very much. After hours of walking, the body does not immediately understand stillness. Your legs continue to carry the memory of movement. A faint sensation, as though the earth itself still shifts beneath your feet. The camels settle slowly. Some kneel into the sand with heavy, tired breaths. Others remain standing, swaying gently where they are. Their silhouettes move softly against the firelight. Large, quiet, patient. The fire crackles steadily near the center of the camp. Not large enough to overpower the darkness, only enough to push it back a few feet at a time. Beyond that small circle of warmth, the desert remains untouched. Vast and endless beneath the stars. You step closer to the fire. The heat reaches your hands first, a welcome contrast to the cold now settling into the night air. The warmth feels almost surprising after so many hours beneath open sky. Someone places another piece of wood into the flames. Sparks rise briefly upward, drifting toward the stars before disappearing completely. No one watches them for long. Out here, even beautiful things appear quietly, and vanish quietly too. A kettle hangs above part of the fire, darkened from use, its surface carrying years of smoke and travel. The water inside trembles gently as heat gathers beneath it. Not boiling yet, only waiting. You lower yourself slowly onto a folded blanket near the edge of the camp. The sand beneath it still carries traces of warmth from the day, enough to be noticed, enough to soften the cold. The night around you feels impossibly large, larger than any city, larger than mountains, larger even than the journey itself. And yet, sitting here beside a single fire, it somehow feels less distant. The travelers around you speak softly now, not conversations meant to carry, only fragments. A few exchanged words, a quiet laugh, the low murmur of tired voices. Different languages drift through the night, some familiar, others impossible for you to understand. And still, none of it feels foreign here. The road belongs to many people, always has. One traveler removes his sandals carefully and rubs tired dust from his feet. Another unwraps cloth from around his face, revealing skin marked by wind and sun. A younger traveler near the fire struggles to stay awake, his head slowly lowering before lifting again. No one comments on it. Everyone understands exhaustion here. The kettle begins to steam, thin ribbons rising upward into the cold desert air. A quiet signal, more than a sound. Tea will come soon, and somehow that thought alone feels comforting. You hold your hands closer to the fire. The heat settles into your skin gradually, slowly undoing the cold gathered during the journey. The flames move constantly, but without urgency. Their light shifts gently across faces, bags, blankets, and sand, creating movement even where there is none. Beyond the firelight, the darkness remains complete. You cannot see where the desert ends, only where the light no longer reaches. Somewhere far away, wind moves across the dunes once more. A low sound, soft and distant, like breath moving through the night itself. A cup is passed toward you, small, warm. Steam curls upward from its surface. You accept it with both hands. The heat travels immediately into your fingers. A simple comfort, quiet, but deeply felt. The tea is strong, earthy, slightly bitter. Its warmth lingers long after each sip. You drink slowly. There is no reason not to. Everything in the desert teaches patience eventually. Even thirst. The stars above the camp seem brighter now. The longer you look at them, the more appear, layers upon layers of distant light. Some travelers continue speaking softly. Others have already fallen silent, lost in thought, or perhaps free from it entirely. The fire settles lower for a while. Its crackling softens. The camp grows quieter with it. A trader across from you carefully unwraps a small cloth bundle. Inside are spices gathered from cities far to the east. Even here, in the middle of the desert, their scent drifts faintly through the air. Cinnamon, cardamom, something sweet beneath the smoke. The SilkkRoad carries more than goods. It carries pieces of distant worlds, fragments of places most travelers will never fully know. And yet, for one night, those worlds sit together beside the same fire. The thought passes quietly through your mind, then fades, like most thoughts do out here. The desert has a way of emptying the mind slowly, not all at once, not forcefully. It simply gives you less to hold on to, less noise, less distraction, until only simple things remain: warmth, breath, sky, fire. You pull your cloak tighter once more. The cold deepens as midnight approaches, the kind of cold that settles silently into the earth itself. One by one, travelers begin preparing to sleep. Blankets unfold onto sand, small lanterns dim, voices grow fewer. Nobody announces good night. There is no need. The silence arrives naturally on its own. You look once more toward the darkness beyond the camp. The dunes are invisible now. Only the stars remain clear. It feels strange to imagine entire kingdoms existing somewhere beyond the horizon. Cities filled with noise, markets, crowds, walls, kings, wars. Out here, none of it feels real. Only the desert feels real. And the fire beside you, and the endless sky above. The tea in your cup has cooled slightly. You finish the last sip slowly, then place the empty cup beside your blanket. The fire continues its gentle movement, steady, patient, ancient. You lower yourself carefully onto the sand. The blanket beneath you softens the ground just enough. Above you, the stars stretch endlessly from horizon to horizon, so many of them that the darkness between them almost disappears. You breathe in slowly. Cold air fills your lungs. Clean, dry, still. And as the camp settles fully into silence, The desert night continues around you, endless, quiet, without hurry. The fire burns lower as the night deepens. Its warmth still reaches you, but more softly now. The sharp crackling from earlier has faded into quieter sounds, small shifts in the wood, occasional sparks rising into the dark. Most of the camp has fallen asleep. Blankets rise and fall slowly with breathing. Shapes rest silently beneath layers of cloth and shadow. Even the camels seem quieter now. Some lie resting in the sand. Others remain standing motionless beneath the stars, their long silhouettes blending into the darkness beyond the firelight. The wind has almost disappeared entirely. Only now and then does a faint current of cold air move across the camp, lifting grains of sand gently across the ground before fading again. You remain awake, not fully awake in the way one feels during the day, but suspended somewhere between rest and thought. The kind of stillness that only arrives far from cities, far from noise, far from walls. You stare upward at the sky. The stars seem impossibly clear now, not scattered randomly, but layered carefully across the darkness like paths waiting to be followed. For generations, travelers have crossed these deserts beneath the same constellations. Long before roads were marked, long before maps were trusted, the stars were enough, and somehow they still are. A faint sound drifts through the distance. At first, it is difficult to place, then you recognize it. Another caravan somewhere far away in the night, perhaps miles from your camp, perhaps much closer than it sounds. The desert changes distance strangely after dark. A bell rings softly somewhere beyond the dunes, then silence returns once more. You close your eyes briefly. The warmth of the fire reaches your face. The cold settles around the edges of your cloak. For a moment, you feel perfectly balanced between the two. Neither cold nor warm, neither tired nor fully awake, just present. The sand beneath you has cooled completely now. It no longer holds the heat of the day. Instead, it feels smooth and still beneath your blanket, a quiet foundation beneath the endless movement of the world. The firelight flickers softly against your closed eyelids. Even without looking, you can sense its movement, its rhythm, slow and alive. Nearby, someone shifts in their sleep. Fabric brushes against sand, then stillness again. You breathe deeply. The air smells faintly of smoke now. Smoke and dust and distant spice carried inside cloth bags from cities thousands of miles apart. So much of the world moves along this road. Silk from the east, glass from distant empires, salt, tea, stories, languages, beliefs. And yet tonight, all of it rests quietly beneath the same sky. The thought drifts gently through your mind before dissolving again. Thoughts do not stay long out here. The desert has a way of carrying them away. Slowly, silently, as though there is simply too much space for the mind to hold on to unnecessary things. Your body grows heavier against the ground, not uncomfortable, only relaxed. The kind of tiredness earned through long movement beneath open sky. The fire continues to shrink gradually. Its light no longer reaches the edges of the camp. Darkness closes in carefully around the resting travelers, but it does not feel threatening, only calm. The stars above remain untouched by it. If anything, they appear brighter now. The silence becomes deeper with every passing moment. Not empty silence, living silence. A silence filled with breath, with distant wind, with settling sand, with the quiet presence of sleeping travelers sharing the same fragile warmth in the middle of an endless desert. Somewhere nearby, a camel exhales heavily in its sleep. The sound is slow and deep. Then, quiet again. You open your eyes once more. The fire has become mostly glowing embers now. The fire has become mostly glowing embers now, soft orange light beneath darkened wood. Steady, fading slowly. You watch the last small flames move carefully between the logs, unhurried, almost peaceful in the way they disappear. Above you, the night feels eternal, as though dawn may never come, as though this moment could continue endlessly without changing. And perhaps part of it will, long after the travelers leave, long after the fire turns cold. The desert itself will remain, silent beneath the stars, waiting for the next caravan to cross its endless sands. Hours pass without being counted. The night continues quietly around the camp, unchanged in its vastness. The embers glow faintly now. Most of the fire has collapsed inward, leaving behind soft waves of heat that rise gently into the cold air. The darkness beyond the camp feels deeper than before, not because there is less light, but because your eyes have grown used to stillness. You notice smaller things now, the faint shifting of sand against fabric, the slow breathing of sleeping travelers, the occasional movement of a camel adjusting its weight beneath the stars. Everything feels softer after midnight. Even sound, even thought. The cold has settled fully across the desert now. It touches the edges of your face and hands, slipping quietly through the air with patient persistence. You pull the cloak slightly closer around your body. The fabric carries the scent of dust, smoke, and long travel. Familiar scents, comforting in their own quiet way. Above you, the sky remains impossibly clear. There are so many stars now that it becomes difficult to focus on any single one. The longer you look upward, the more endless the darkness appears. Somewhere far beyond what the eye can see, entire worlds move silently through the same night. But here, beside the dying fire, the universe feels simple, reduced to breath and warmth and silence. A faint breeze returns briefly across the dunes. You hear it approaching before it reaches the camp. A low whisper moving over sand, gentle, restless, then gone again. The desert never becomes completely still. It only changes the way it moves. Your eyes begin to grow heavier, not suddenly, slowly, naturally. The exhaustion of the journey settles deeper into your body with every passing moment. Your muscles loosen further against the ground. The tension of walking has long since disappeared. Only weight remains now. Comfortable weight. The kind that invites rest. The camp around you feels suspended outside of time. No clocks. No schedules. No walls separating one moment from another. Only the slow passage of night itself. A traveler near the far side of the fire stirs briefly beneath his blanket, then settles once more into sleep. The embers pulse softly in the darkness. Small pockets of orange light hidden beneath ash, like tiny breathing stars resting on the earth. You close your eyes again. The sounds of the desert sharpen slightly in the absence of sight. Wind moving somewhere distant. A quiet creak from leather straps tied to packed goods. The soft shifting of an animal resting nearby. All of it blending together into something steady and rhythmic. Your breathing slows naturally. Deep, calm, unhurried. The warmth from the fire barely reaches you now, but enough remains to soften the cold. Enough to make the darkness feel gentle instead of empty. Somewhere beyond the dunes, another caravan may still be walking beneath the stars. Lanterns swaying softly through the night. Footsteps disappearing into sand. Travelers speaking quietly to stay awake until dawn. The SilkkRoad never truly sleeps. Even now, while this camp rests beneath the sky, others continue moving through darkness far beyond the horizon. The thought drifts through your mind slowly before fading again. Nothing feels urgent enough to hold on to for long. That is the gift of the desert. It loosens the mind, creates space between thoughts, until silence itself begins to feel complete. The cold deepens slightly in the hours before dawn. The air feels thinner now, sharper. You breathe slowly through it, each breath visible for only a brief moment before vanishing into darkness. The stars remain steady overhead, ancient, silent, untouched by the lives moving beneath them. And beneath those endless stars, the camp sleeps quietly beside the last glowing embers of the fire, wrapped in stillness, wrapped in night, wrapped in the endless silence of the desert. Somewhere in the distance, a bird calls once, a faint sound carried across the dunes. Then silence returns again. The darkest hours of the night have arrived. That quiet moment before dawn begins its slow approach. The fire has almost completely faded now. Only a few dim embers remain beneath soft layers of ash. Their glow pulses gently in the darkness, growing weaker with every passing moment. Around you, the camp remains asleep, blankets unmoving, lanterns extinguished, the long shapes of resting camels barely visible beneath the stars. Everything feels suspended between worlds, neither fully awake nor fully dreaming. You open your eyes once more. The sky above has changed subtly, not brighter yet, but different. The darkness no longer feels endless. Somewhere far beyond the horizon, morning has already begun moving toward the desert, though here, night still holds the land completely. The air is colder now than at any point before. A dry, delicate cold that settles into fabric and skin alike. You breathe slowly through it. Calm clouds of breath rise briefly before disappearing into the dark. The sand beneath your blanket feels firm and cool, steady beneath your body. You remain still, listening. There is a certain kind of silence that only exists before sunrise, not empty silence, expectant silence, as though the entire desert is quietly waiting for warmth, waiting for light, waiting for movement to begin again. A camel nearby lifts its head slowly. You hear the soft sound of leather shifting, then stillness once more. The animal settles back into rest beneath the fading stars. Your body feels heavy with exhaustion now, but peaceful. The long journey, the cold air, the endless rhythm of walking beneath open sky, all of it has slowly quieted something deep inside you. The mind no longer races here. It simply drifts, like sand carried gently by wind, like smoke rising from dying embers. Your eyes move once more across the horizon. At first, nothing appears different, only darkness layered over distant dunes. Then slowly, very slowly, a faint silver tone begins to emerge far in the distance, barely visible. The first suggestion of approaching dawn. No traveler reacts to it yet. The camp remains silent, but the desert itself seems to notice. The stars nearest the horizon begin to soften slightly, their light no longer as sharp as before. The sky changes one careful shade at a time. Dark blue, then softer blue beneath it. The transformation happens so slowly, it almost feels imagined. You pull the blanket slightly closer around yourself, holding on to the last deep moments of night. There is something sacred about this hour, this quiet transition between darkness and light. The world feels gentler here, slower, as though even time itself moves more carefully across the desert before sunrise. One of the travelers near the fire stirs awake quietly. No sudden movement, only a slow shift beneath blankets, a tired breath, the beginning of return. Soon the camp will move again. The camels will rise. The fire will be rebuilt. The road will continue west and east beneath the growing light. But not yet. For now, the night still remains. Soft, cold, silent. You close your eyes one final time, listening to the fading darkness around you. The distant wind moving over dunes, the quiet breathing of sleeping travelers. the endless stillness of the desert itself. And slowly, as dawn approaches somewhere beyond the horizon, the final hours of night drift gently toward morning. The first true light of dawn arrives quietly, not as a sudden brightness, but as a slow release of darkness from the sky. The stars begin disappearing one by one, fading softly into pale shades of blue and silver. For a few moments, the desert exists between two worlds, neither night nor morning, only stillness suspended in cold air. The travelers wake gradually. A quiet cough somewhere near the edge of the camp, the rustling of blankets, slow movements stiff from the long journey. No one rises quickly. The desert teaches patience even after sleep. You sit up slowly beneath your cloak. The cold feels sharper now, without the protection of darkness. The final warmth of the embers has disappeared entirely. Only ash remains where the fire once burned. Thin lines of smoke rise weakly into the morning air before vanishing. The dunes around the camp begin revealing themselves again, soft curves emerging beneath the growing light. Shapes that were invisible only moments before now return to the world. A camel rises nearby with a deep groan and heavy movement. Leather straps creak softly. Another follows, then another. The caravan slowly comes back to life. Still quiet, still calm. But awake now. A traveler kneels beside the remains of the fire, carefully feeding fresh wood into the ash. Soon, faint orange light appears once more beneath the smoke. Small flames begin rebuilding themselves carefully in the cold morning air. The scent of smoke returns to the camp. Warm, familiar, comforting. You rub your hands together slowly, feeling warmth return to stiff fingers. The sky brightens further with every passing moment. Far across the horizon, pale gold begins touching the edges of distant dunes. The desert changes color quickly at dawn. Blue becomes silver. Silver becomes gold. Shadows retreat slowly across the sand. The endless night that covered the world only an hour ago now feels impossibly far away. And yet, part of it remains, a quiet stillness lingering beneath everything. You stand carefully, stretching tired muscles from the previous day's journey. Your feet sink slightly into the cold sand beneath you. Nearby, water is poured slowly into metal cups. Tea is prepared once again, morning arriving through familiar rituals. Nothing rushed, nothing wasted. The road ahead is still long. There is no reason to hurry its beginning. You look out across the desert as sunlight slowly reaches the camp. The dunes stretch endlessly in every direction, empty and vast beneath the growing day. But after the night, the emptiness no longer feels lonely, only peaceful. The wind begins moving again across the open sands, gentle at first, carrying with it the first warmth of morning. The camp slowly fills with small sounds, quiet conversation, the movement of packed goods, the soft bells tied to the caravan animals, life returning carefully after rest. And above it all, the sky continues brightening, clear and endless. You take one final glance toward the fading western horizon where night still lingers faintly in the distance. Then slowly, the caravan prepares to move once more. Another day waiting beyond the dunes. Another long journey beneath open sky. But for now, in these final quiet moments before departure, the desert remains calm. The fire burns softly. The morning air stays cool against your skin, and somewhere behind you, hidden beneath the fading stars, the night quietly disappears. The caravan begins moving shortly after sunrise. Not all at once. The camp unfolds slowly from stillness into motion. Blankets are rolled carefully and tied onto packs. Water skins are checked one by one. Ropes tighten softly around wooden frames carrying goods gathered from distant cities. Nothing is done quickly. Every movement follows a rhythm shaped by repetition, a rhythm older than memory. The camels step forward gradually beneath their loads, large shadows moving through pale morning light. The bells hanging from their harnesses begin ringing once more. Soft, steady, familiar. You walk beside the caravan again as the camp disappears slowly behind you. Within minutes, only faint marks remain in the sand. A few dark circles where fires once burned. Shallow footprints already beginning to fade beneath the wind. The desert does not hold on to things for long. It allows travelers to pass through quietly, then returns to silence again. The morning air remains cool for now, the kind of coolness that exists only briefly after dawn. Already you can feel warmth beginning to gather beneath the rising sun. The shadows across the dunes grow shorter with every passing moment. Ahead, the road stretches endlessly across the open sands. Though road is hardly the right word, there are no stones marking the path. No walls, no signs, only instinct, memory, the stars at night, the shape of the land by day, and still somehow the caravan knows where to go. You glance behind you once more. The camp from the night before has vanished completely now, swallowed by distance and shifting sand, as though it never existed at all. Only the memory remains, the warmth of the fire, the cold beneath the stars, the silence before dawn, moments already becoming softer inside the mind. The bells continue their gentle rhythm beside you, step after step, breath after breath. The movement begins to quiet your thoughts once more. The desert has a strange way of doing that. Its vastness leaves little room for unnecessary things. No crowded streets, no endless noise, only sky and sand stretching farther than the eye can follow. A traveler ahead adjusts cloth around his face as sunlight strengthens. Another hums softly to himself while walking beside the animals. The sound drifts briefly through the air before disappearing into the wind. The caravan moves as one living thing, slowly crossing the open world beneath the growing heat of day. You feel the sand shifting beneath your feet with each step, soft in some places, firm in others, never fully still. The desert is always moving, even when it appears silent. Far ahead, faint shapes begin to appear against the horizon, dark lines rising slowly through the morning haze. At first, they seem almost like another illusion created by distance, but gradually, they sharpen. Rock formations, perhaps an old resting place, perhaps the beginning of another trade route crossing through the sands. The journey continues endlessly like this, one horizon leading to another, one night fading into the next. And somewhere far behind you now, hidden beneath the brightening sky, the quiet desert night remains only as memory, a single peaceful pause along an endless road that has carried travelers for centuries beneath the stars. By midday, the desert feels entirely different. The cool silence of dawn has disappeared beneath the rising heat. Sunlight pours across the dunes without obstruction, turning the sand almost white in places. The air shimmers gently above the ground. Faraway shapes blur and soften beneath the warmth. The caravan continues steadily forward. Slower now, beneath the weight of the day, the camels breathe heavily but calmly, their long shadows moving beside them across the endless sand. Cloth wrapped around your head shields part of the heat, but still you can feel the sun pressing steadily against your skin. The desert during daylight feels older somehow, more exposed. There is nowhere to hide from the sky here, nowhere for the eye to rest except distant dunes rolling endlessly toward the horizon. And yet, even beneath the heat, the road remains peaceful. The bells tied to the caravan continue their quiet rhythm, a soft metallic sound repeating gently through the warm air. The movement becomes almost hypnotic after enough hours. Step, breath, bell, wind, again and again. Some travelers speak less now. The heat pulls words from people slowly, Conversations shorten. Silence grows naturally between footsteps. A bird circles high above the desert for a few brief moments before disappearing again into the brightness overhead. Its shadow glides silently across the dunes beneath you, then vanishes. The sun climbs higher. You can feel exhaustion returning gradually to your legs and shoulders. Not painful exhaustion, only the deep heaviness of constant movement beneath open sky. The kind of tiredness that arrives honestly, without stress, without urgency. A traveler near the front of the caravan raises his hand briefly. The pace slows. Ahead, near a cluster of dark stone emerging from the sand, a small area of shade waits beside the rocks. Not much, but enough. Enough for water, enough for rest, enough to escape the direct heat for a little while before continuing onward. The caravan gradually changes direction toward it. As you approach, the air near the stones feels slightly cooler. The shadows cast by the rocks appear almost dark blue against the brightness of the desert. The camels kneel slowly one by one as the caravan stops again. Heavy bags shift gently against leather and rope. Travelers lower themselves carefully into the shade with tired breaths. Water is passed quietly between hands. Small, careful sips. No waste, no hurry. You sit with your back against one of the stones and close your eyes briefly. Even here, in the middle of daylight, the desert still carries its strange silence. The wind moves softly across the rocks. Sand brushes lightly against the ground. Somewhere nearby, someone pours tea into a small metal cup. Simple sounds, steady sounds, the kind that slowly become part of the body itself after enough time on the road. The shade feels cool against your skin, a temporary shelter beneath the endless sun. You breathe deeply. The air smells different here among the stones, less open than the dunes. Dry earth mixed with warm rock and dust. Above you, the sky remains perfectly clear. No clouds, only blue stretching endlessly in every direction. The travelers around you rest quietly. Some drink tea. Others simply sit with closed eyes, saving energy for the remaining hours ahead. No one asks how much farther the journey goes. On the Silk Road, distance loses meaning after enough time. There is only movement, only the next sunrise, the next campfire, the next quiet night beneath the stars. You open your eyes slowly once more and look toward the horizon. Far beyond the dunes, more roads wait unseen, more travelers crossing deserts and mountains beneath the same sky. And somewhere ahead, hidden beyond the heat and distance, another night is already waiting.